You're listening to Money Making Mothers with Carla Edwards, where we discuss the highs and lows of being a working parent, how to master the art of spinning plates, and to remind ourselves that just because you became a mother does not mean your dreams no longer exist. You can have it all.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Money Making Mothers, where I am joined by the stunning Charlie, who runs the Makeup House and the Talent House. She's worked in the beauty industry for years. She's also one of those very annoying women who looks unbelievable with makeup on or off and is just super gorgeous as a person. She also has a big set of balls and took the plunge when most people wouldn't, and I think it's going to be inspiring to people wondering, should I or shouldn't I? So listen up.
Hi, my name's Charlie and I'm the director of the Talent House and founder of the Makeup House. The Makeup House is an accredited beauty school and the Talent House is our recruitment and talent agency.
Brilliant. So thank you firstly for coming on to the podcast. I'm so grateful to have you. And obviously, just to give a bit of background, we are connected through Down Under, as my best friend and your best friend are currently living it up in Western Australia, and that's how we've ended up connecting. So thank you, Chloe and Lauren, for stealing our best friends.
But now we're friends, so them two are out. That's it.
Brilliant. So first question, love, I want to ask is, why do you do what you do?
I think I've always kind of known that I wanted to have my own business and be in control of my working life, really. But I suppose it's taken a lot to kind of make the leap. So after working in a lot of high pressured, high demanding roles, quite corporate roles, I think it got to a point where I just thought, if I'm putting this much into somebody else's business, if I did it for myself, what could I get out of it? So after I had my little boy, I did go back into a corporate job, but kind of it gave me some time while I was on mat leave to think about what I really wanted to do. And I went back to a busy retail management role, and it did consume me again, like the roles before had. But when you have a baby and when you have a different priority kind of order of things, it kind of, I knew that it wasn't, I knew it wasn't forever. It wasn't sustainable.
Isn't it anymore?
Yeah, literally just couldn't. I loved my job. I absolutely loved my job at Selfridges, but kind of it was juggling. It was really tough, and I felt like I was missing out on my little boy quite a bit. And retail is just.
You were doing corporate jobs. What do you mean? Like what type of jobs were there?
So I've been in beauty for about 12 years, and I've climbed the ladder in various ways. So I was on the shop floor on counter for Estee Lauder back at the start, and then I've grown through the ranks. So I went to assistant manager of counters. I worked for NARS, and then I launched Charlotte Tilbury in the Birmingham store and was the business manager on that. So it was the second ever counter that they had. So no one knew what the brand was at the time. Obviously now it's the biggest makeup brand in the world. And at the beginning, it was a bit like, oh my God, what am I doing? Joining Charlotte Tilbury. I didn't have a clue what it was like, what it was about. And then from there, it gave me loads of opportunity. I moved to London with them and was regional manager in London, and literally lived Monday to Friday in London and came home on a weekend and did loads of traveling with them. But it was really high pressured, high profile, like you're in a big corporate position. I mean, they weren't a big business at the time, but it was that real conveyor belt of work, like, because it was a new founded business. It was just mental. It just grew before we had everything that we needed to grow it, basically.
You're literally a walking advertisement for it because you're stunning. So I bet
No.
you
Literally. So right, literally, I've got half of it on my face. That's the only reason. And then obviously,
anyone listening, what's the best Charlotte Tilbury product?
oh my God, that is the hardest question ever. There's not one. Genuinely, I mean, I love the brand, but majority of the products are amazing. I mean, the skincare is amazing. I love the bronzers, the foundation. Like literally, pretty much every product is brilliant. Hence why.
Tell me one. If you had to pick one.
one. I love the Film Star Bronze and Glow, the bronzer. The Dolce Vita. See, I can't even choose one. I can't say one. Dolce Vita eyeshadow palette. The Magic Cream. Magic Cream's
I've
amazing.
heard the Magic Cream. My friend was using that when we were away and he swore by it. He said it was amazing.
Then they've brought out this Flawless Filter, which is like amazing. This glowy base, which is supposed to give you like an Instagram filter skin. There's so many. She's absolutely smashed it, to be fair. So it's always been like really mental jobs, to the point where I've literally been like a lunatic, not really having a life other than work. And then after my little boy, I went to Selfridges and ran the beauty floor for Selfridges in Birmingham, which was different because I wasn't traveling. And obviously I was in my local city, but again, like the pressure was huge. I was responsible for like £30 million turnover. Probably confidential, but I've just told you that. And and it was just mental. And obviously you're in a huge store, like, you know, it was known as the best. It is still holds the title for best department store in the world. So the standards were super high, and obviously it's not Monday to Friday. It's shifted. You're responsible for being duty manager and running the store on shifts as well. But it was an amazing job. I loved that job. Had an incredible boss, 2 incredible bosses, lovely team. But yeah, they're jobs that take over your life completely.
What was the breaking point for you thinking, right, I need to set up on my own and do what? Had you always wanted to do it on your own?
I think I'd always thought I'm going to work for myself one day. I didn't really know how. I just always knew I would. It was probably inevitable it would be in beauty and retail, because that's what I've always known, and that's my kind of like area. But I never really knew exactly. You know, some people have like a gut, like I'm going to do this and this is what I'm going for. I never really knew. I always wanted my own brand, and I still do want my own brand in the future. But yeah, and then I think it was probably around Christmas time, the year before I left, where I was thinking, do you know what, like Christmas in retail is really tough. You don't have a Christmas. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you don't. I was really lucky. I had a great team who did give me like the, you know, great day off here and there. But when you've got a family, like they're the things that Christmas is like amazing, isn't it? And just, Saturdays I won't be with Teddy and my partner James, and I'd miss stuff. I just miss little bits and bobs. We wouldn't put them to bed.
You're having to sacrifice time, isn't it? And you're stuck between what's more valuable, the actual money value or time value.
It was 100% that, and there'd be days where I'd miss like 2 or 3 bedtimes, and me and Jim were just like, it was literally just a logistical. It was like an army ranked procedure of how we got through the day, because he had a big busy job as well. So he did a lot of the drop-offs, pickups. I remember one day when he first started nursery, and there was a new nursery nurse, and I went to pick him up. And she was like, and whose mum are you, sorry? And she didn't know who I was. And I remember thinking, oh my God.
Honestly, that's happened to me. Bearing in mind, this wasn't a new nursery nurse. She'd been there 6 months. And I stood up and I was like, hiya. And she was like, yeah, who are you? And I said,
Who are you?
I'm Alba's mum. She was like, she looked at the other girl and she went,
yeah,
you have the password. And I was like, the password?
I was so offended.
Yeah, but like then you think,
like,
how little have I picked her up? But it's
that was it. That was like me. And I was thinking, oh, that's not good. But yeah, I think it just then started. I just started to think, you know, what could I do? What could we do? And just sort of decided I was going to take the leap. So there was a premises actually near us where I used to go and get my nails done, and it was like a beautiful converted barn, and they had like commercials in there. It was a salon at one point, and then it moved over to other businesses. And I remember driving there with Jim one day, and I was like, I'd love a place here. Like it's dead cute. It's got like a little farm feel to it. And one of the units came up, and I went to see the farmer, and I was like, look, I love that little. There was a couple actually, and I was like, I really like the space here. I wanted a studio where I thought teaching is, and like doing makeup is something I want to do. It's what I've always done. And that spurred me on, because I thought, if something's come up, it might be a little sign. I know I like the space. Yeah, it gave me a bit of a kick. And then I was thinking, okay, so what should we do? in my old jobs, I'd taught and done. So at Charlotte Tilbury, I was like area and like we did education as well, area manager. But you would do like new starter trainings and onboard all the team and like teach them the brand and the products and everything else. And so I kind of knew I'd got that in the bank because I knew how to teach, and I like teaching. So yeah, we
predominantly then is teach makeup.
Yeah, so the makeup house is predominantly it's an accredited makeup school. So we bring on and train girls and guys who want to get into the industry. We do different courses and they get a qualification at the end of it. I've got two amazing artists who work with me, Charlotte and Gracie, and we just have turned it into this kind of. We've had a few people say it's like a makeup pen do because you have a week with us and then literally we're all sat on the floor eating pizza and drinking Prosecco on a Friday. It's dead cute. But that's predominantly what we do.
Have you painted any famous faces?
Probably the biggest thing I've done was I did Tom Ford Fashion Week backstage with Charlotte. I was on her team, which was pretty amazing. Yeah. And then we went to New York and launched Bloomingdale's, and there was some VIPs there. That was pretty cool. Yeah, Tom Ford, he was in the room when we were doing the makeup, and literally, and I was wearing leather trousers. I remember it's the hottest room I've ever been in. I was wearing plastic leather trousers, and I was sweating. It was so hot. And I was like, oh my God, Tom Ford's behind me, and literally I was just getting hotter and hotter and hotter and more flustered. It was awful. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
With you obviously now being like established in what you've done and what you've built up, how do you find juggling the work and motherhood? Because obviously that was one of the reasons why you wanted to move over and change your path. So how do you find it now?
I mean, there's obviously weeks, especially, I mean, this year has just been bonkers, hasn't it? And I think there's weeks where it's still just as mad and we'll be on our laptops till midnight. But I think it's just having control of it. So if I want to, if I want to go and pick Teddy up, or if we want to have a Wednesday or a Tuesday with him, then we kind of just schedule our own time with him. It's just the control of my time that I really struggled with before. And I do bedtime every night now. We do have our weekends together, and granted, like, so you're taking calls still and you're doing different things. And the other side of our business, the recruitment agency and the talent agency, is demanding because it's constant. You've got people working in stores and in retail every day. So my phone doesn't stop, but I can be on my phone and taking calls whilst I'm in my house rather than being in a store. Yeah, it's really it's much more flexible. And I think for me the biggest thing is he's ultimately, and every mum says it, he's your goal. They're your driving force, aren't they? I don't want Ted to ever worry about stuff or think he can't, something like we talked about earlier, like think he can't do something he wants to do. And I think, yeah, he just spurs me on to, go for it and really try and make of it whatever you can. And he hasn't got a clue. That's the funny thing.
I don't know about you, but when I first became self-employed, I really struggled with saying no.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared that it was as if I said no, I was going to be losing out, and that was going to be something that I'd regret. And when I look back now, I think I could have said no.
Yeah. Like opportunities, you mean, or things that were coming through it. Yeah. I think I know exactly what you mean with that. No one likes to talk about what's happening this year, but obviously it has been probably the hardest year to have a new business. And we were running the agency, and we had some amazing artists working in stores and on our teams and for some amazing brands, and it was all going really well. And then in January, February, obviously as this all hit, it just shut the business, that side of the business, completely down. And then the school went down because you couldn't trade in beauty. So it has been 6 months of like scrambling to get business, and exactly that. Anything that came through was like, right, we need to make a lead on this, we need to make a lead on that. Who can we reach out to who I might have worked with before, or who can we connect with, what can we do differently, how do we go virtual with stuff, so people can do things from home. And yeah, it was just like adapting. And I know what you mean, like there's things now where you mold your business to an opportunity because you don't want to say no to it, because you don't know where it will lead. But as time goes on, and hopefully when things are back up, a bit more normal, we'll be able to stay true to our, like, I suppose, like our path with it. That makes sense.
I suppose in your industry as well, you can't really have a similar man. You're working around other people a lot as well, so you can't really have a set schedule. I mean, it's amazing you can put Ted to bed every night. The truth of it is, I could do that, and I do that, but the part I find hard, or I did used to find really hard, was putting the opportunity behind the norm, like just the normal reality of day-to-day life, and saying, right, well, that's fine, I can tell them I can do it tomorrow at 12 rather than 7 o'clock at night. I really struggled to, I don't know, to prioritise, I suppose, my time, because when you are self-employed, if you say no, you're at risk of losing, obviously, money that you need to bring it to the home, and it's like one circle, isn't it, going round?
Yeah, I definitely accommodate to whoever the client or like the retailer or the brand, whenever it works for them. So like, we've got a really amazing brand partner, but they're based in New York. The time difference is obviously 5 hours. I mean, the first time I called at like 2 a.m. or whatever time it was, and completely fudged up the timings. But now, so we do have calls at like 8, 9, 10 at night, or we need to be in London, or we need to be in Manchester, and you do have to do it whenever that is, regardless of whether it's a 100-mile journey just for one meeting. Like, you have to show willing, and you have to be where other brands might have a team. We're not at that point yet. We're starting up. We will have a team, absolutely. It's on the plans. But yeah, you definitely have to kind of be strict, I suppose, really strict. Yeah, but it is hard. Like, I'm a sucker. I'm like, yeah, whatever, we'll work around you, like, completely. And then I'm like absolutely shattered because I've done like a ridiculous day of calls.
But do you have a good support network as well, obviously, with like to help with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've literally took pretty much every sacrifice we could have to keep the business going. Sold, and this was the funny thing, we got to a point where we both had really good jobs. We had a nice car each, we had a lovely family home, gorgeous neighbours on this lovely little road. Like we were like doing the whole 2.4 thing, like, this is great. But the bills were like absolutely through the roof, like ridiculous, and you don't have any time to actually enjoy the money you're earning and the lifestyle that you got in the nice house. So we just were like completely flipped on its head. One night we were having the conversation, we were like, what are we actually aiming for? We don't want to work to pay the bills, we want to work to have the lifestyle that we want. And we just were like, let's sell the house, let's just sell the house, let's get rid of the cars, let's just reduce our outgoings, and then you can quit your job and then we can start the business. And it was just literally like, are we going to do this? Like, are we actually going to do it? Everyone was like, you're selling the house, you lost the plot.
When someone come and was like, we want to buy this house. Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh no, actually we're getting an offer on the house. And luckily I've got the most amazing family and partner. Like, Jim was just like, do it, you've got to do it. He's always had that entrepreneurial kind of goal as well. But obviously we needed a little bit of stability, so he stayed in his job for a little bit, and we sold the house and moved in with my parents, who were just like amazing, like the best you could ever imagine. And they were like, we can support you, we can fit you in. It's a bit of a squeeze, but let's go for it. And yeah, we're back in my mum and dad, which was supposed to be for like 3-4 months, and then now we are a year later. But it's what it is.
Oh, it's going to be a lovely family Christmas though.
It's going to be, especially when we're all stuck in, because we're not allowed out. Yeah, no, it is. But we are really lucky, and I think if you have got, I think the main thing, when I was talking to like family and friends about doing it and starting the business, is people saying go for it, because that spurs you on. If you have people go like, what, and a few people were like, what are you doing? Like, you're leaving your job at Salvages, and what about your house, and and some people don't want that, and that's absolutely fine. But we just were like, okay, we're kind of like at the point where this is how it's going to be for the next probably 5, 8, 10 years.
Fork road in life, where you stay on the lane where it's plain, going, or you
Yeah.
go to the overtake a lane and just like go for it.
Exactly. And it could all fall to bits and fall on its arse, or it could take off. And it was, I suppose, that kind of like, you know, we're not going to earn any more money for a couple of years until someone gets promoted or someone leaves or da. And, you know, you're not going to get a bigger house. And would that even make you happy, a bigger house? I don't know.
You're saying it as if it's like an easy thing to do. That's a scary thing. Like to
It was scary.
sell your cars, move back in with your mum and dad. Like that's some serious commitment to a dream. That, like,
Yeah, I feel like we had a minor midlife crisis, to be honest. But I don't remember it actually happening and us actually making the decision. We just did it. We didn't even think. I don't think we really thought about it. We just thought, well, if we're going to do it, we've got to do it. You know, like you can't really think about it too much. I did have a minor blip. Like it did have a minor blip in the new year where every single part of my life had changed. That I was like, what is going on? My work, my job, you know, my lifestyle, my job, my house. And I was like, oh my God, this has to work now. And it just doesn't, you have no choice. But then I think because you commit so much to it, you just got to make it happen, haven't you? Just got to try and go.
I'm a strong believer in if you put your all into it, what can go wrong? I mean, if at the end of the day, as long as you've tried and you've done everything you physically can, and you know you've put your heart and soul into it, and it fails, you know, at least you've tried. I'm just such a big believer, and I'd rather regret something I tried than something I never.
100%. You just daydreaming it otherwise, don't you? But yeah, it's I think the exciting thing when you have your own business, and it doesn't, you know, they don't always take off and work, but you are limitless, really. You can take it and, like, you know, yourself, you've got so many different little avenues. If you keep going with all these little avenues, or one of them takes off, or one might be a little bit slow, but then that one might take off, there's no cap or stop on it. And I think that's what's exciting with it.
Do whatever you want to do, and there's no
whatever you want.
That, like, the sky is the limit, without sounding too corny, but that is the truth.
And if you've got that mentality, I truly believe in, like, this whole manifesting thing, and, like, if you're a good person and everything else, if you do keep your mind in that way,
don't get me started.
We have a whole nother podcast about that.
Thing in the world, like, I literally have been told to be quiet by friends. I live by it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's hard to do it every single day. You're only human. Sometimes you get pissed off and you're sick of everything. But, like, day by day, have you read The Secret?
Yeah, about 5 times. I mean, to be fair, Charlotte Tilbury, that is like the core of the brand. You were handed the book when you joined. And she is limitless. Everything is limitless. Like that language is in every part of it became a bit of a cult. We were all like, so we were setting targets, and I remember when we took on one of the counters, and the targets that we were going after were never achieved before, like, ever. And granted, the first year we didn't get to it, but we got close, and everyone had that mentality.
That's aim for the moon, and if you land on the stars, you haven't done too bad.
And look at her brand now, like, it's the biggest brand in the world. It's just crazy. So it is. I truly believe in that. And sometimes we'd sit in meetings and be like, "What? Well, no chance we're going to be able to, you know, what is she on about? How are we going to do that?" And we pretty much did it most of the time. It was just about everyone being on the same sort of path. So that is inspiring, to be fair, to see something like that grow from nothing to
that, just how big it is now.
Yeah.
So I know we've covered off a bit there about, obviously, Jesus, the struggles you've had in terms of, like, going back over, I suppose, but you're doing what you're doing to make sure you can get where you want to be. But as personally, what has been the most difficult time of the journey so far for you?
That's a hard question, that is. I think it's where I think it's remembering things don't happen straight away. And it takes a bit of time, and you want it to be this, like, huge success immediately, and it can't be. The little things.
That's exactly. I do something and I'm like, why am I not number one right now? Like, in Kyoto,
for God's sake, calm. It doesn't take, it's not going to happen overnight. And I'm like, but it needs to.
I know, literally, this is me. And I remember when we launched it's so silly, like social media. I know we could talk about it forever, but like social media, we started our little Instagram page when we launched the Makeup House. And I put it on my page, and then all my friends were sharing it, and everyone was like, oh my God, like, Charlie, this is amazing. I was absolutely like, we were all wired like, oh my God, everyone's being lovely about it, and they're all following it and sharing it. And we had like, I think the first night we had like, and it seems so silly to some people, we had like a real good few hundred people following it. I was like, yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then literally, you know, you're on Instagram and you see all these other, you start following similar businesses or seeing these other schools and these academies, and they've got like hundreds of thousands of followers, and you know, all the brands are engaged with them, and they've got amazing content, and you just think, oh, you get really deflated because you think, oh, mine looks shit, and I haven't got the energy to, I don't think I can't go on Facebook Live and do tutors on myself, so I've got to cringe at myself, and you just think like, and social media, and I've kind of got to the reality now where I'd rather have people following and engage with our little brand who like love it and want to be, you know, involved in it and like what we do. It doesn't really matter, that stuff, genuine, and we can all like say it doesn't matter and still look and be like, shit, why have I not got the
like, it does hurt that. I'm massively relate to that. You're constantly comparing yourself, and
it's terrible.
Even if they've been established for like, I don't know, 5 years, and it's like, well, I've been live for 5 hours. Why aren't I where they are?
I know. And that's something I've taught myself. I have to like, and one of the like things that we love about the Makeup House is it's all about empowerment and supporting each other. Like, and I think I'm teaching girls to go and start their own businesses. There's enough to go around. Me and Gracie and Charlotte, like, right, we're going to give you all our knowledge. We're going to fill you with it, get you accredited, give you all the training you need to go and do your own thing. So there's no we teach everyone, there's no competition, stay in your own lane, support each other. And that's kind of what we remember and really encourage, is like this whole like sisterhood and brotherhood, what, you know, whatever, everyone just support each other. But I need to do that with myself sometimes, not compare. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good to preach it, but not worry about what everyone else is doing, because we'll support it 100% and just hope that people support you back. But it doesn't really, nothing matters as long as you're all right. What, you know, Flossie's doing with 100,000 followers, it doesn't really matter, does it? And you know, Ferrari or whatever.
You're constantly comparing yourself to other people, even though you shouldn't do it, because you're doing your own thing and that's your dream that you're building, and everyone's is going to be different. But the problem is that, and I know for me, you are your biggest critic, and if someone is doing something and you think it's good, you support it and you love it, but then you look at yourself and you think, why aren't I doing that? Why can't I do that? Like, social media is really bad for that, because it can come across like it's so amazing, and just because someone's got 10,000 followers doesn't mean they're doing any better than someone who's got 300 followers.
And you know, you think about yourself, and it's with every single element, you know, if it's like body image or like all of that stuff, but you think, well, you don't post yourself on a, I don't know, like a Friday night in your maternity trousers eating a curry, do you? With no makeup on. Like, who's going to post that? No one's going to post that. So it's all false. Like, you post your best holiday photos, or, you know, your lovely days out with your family. You don't post like the reality, and no one else does. And I know it's so obvious, but you do have to kind of like, just, no one's going to post about something that they've pitched for and not got, or, you know, you're working with a brand, or that you're not going to say you got rejected from. You just don't post it, and you have to just remember that.
As we shout about the failures we hide, and really people should probably try and be a bit more open about that, because it might empower other people and not feel so bad. But social media is never going to change. I mean, social media is like a necessary evil.
I agree.
If I didn't have the business,
yeah, I think it's maybe taken a bit of a turn lately. Like, people are being a bit more honest, and I love that, and a bit more kind of like, I am what I am. There's been this like, people are rebelling against editing their photos and all that stuff.
I love her, that Nelly. Nelly of London.
Yeah. Oh, we did makeup for Lounge underwear, and she was one of the models, and she's like such a babe. She's just the loveliest girl, and she looks amazing. And all the girls there were just like real girls. Looked incredible, obviously. But were just so comfortable in themselves, and it was just so refreshing.
And also
She's amazing. Makes cakes, and it's just like a dream.
it's so much more attractive when someone actually is happy in themselves. But
Yeah.
like it's so hard to like get the confidence. It's the problem is having the confidence to do it. But yeah, that Nelly, I love her. I love everything the
Yeah.
puts on are just so inspiring.
Yeah, she's fab.
But
But yeah, so it's just about trying to keep in your lane and, you know, not worry about everyone else and just support everyone else and pray they, you know, hope they do for you as well, really. But it's hard.
So one of my final my final question, my favourite one, is if your children could learn anything from you, what would it be and why?
And it is super cheesy, but I just want Teddy to do whatever he wants to do in his life. Like, I think that the biggest thing I'd teach him would to be always be true to yourself in how you are with other people. I think one of the things I've tried to keep, well, I haven't even tried to keep it because I think it's like built in you how you are, isn't it, with other people. But I've always looked after anyone who's ever worked for me or been on my teams or has supported me, and I've always worked better for bosses who've genuinely cared about me and my well-being and looked after me. And I think if you're a good person to people, it comes back around and people are good to you. And I've been in situations where I've maybe been treated a bit crap in work or when I've been working for somebody, and I've given it my all and it's still not good enough. And if ever you get like spoken to in a bad way, I've got a few, I won't name it, but a few situations where that's happened. And I just think, hold on a minute, absolutely giving you like my blood here and it's still not good enough. Like, no. And I think, yeah, I've always made sure that I've put other people, like their feelings and how they are first. There's obviously times in stressful situations where you lose it or it's tough to do that, you get frustrated. But I think if you're a good person and you're kind and considerate and you've got a bit of compassion about you, you still can be a great manager or business person or leader or whatever you might be. You don't have to be an arse to be, or be powerful or to be respected. People think you've got to be an arsehole to be respected and you don't. So that's something I've always tried to hold quite, you know, and I'd say that to Teddy, like, you need to just be a good person. I believe in karma and that sort of thing. And I suppose, yeah, just limitless thinking. Like, I never want him to think he's only going to get to somewhere in any way, not in just like financially or anything like that, but like just in his life. You know, if you want to do something, go do it. Don't matter how bonkers it is, or doesn't matter if no one else is doing it. Just do what you want to do, whether that is work somewhere conventional or, you know, have a house in the place that you've always lived. That's great, whatever it is that makes you happy, but just don't box yourself off, I suppose. Because I do think you're kind of conditioned to just do the normal thing. And I don't think it matters how old you get, you're still conditioned. You should get married, you should have a baby, you should get a job, you need to have like a nice house, a nice car and all that sort of stuff.
Like you said there earlier about, you know, you had the dream, and I'm doing the bunny thing.
It wasn't a dream.
Well, it is. It's the expectation that's put on you, isn't it? Is you get married, you have a baby, you've got a nice house, got nice cars, we're doing all right, we're paying our mortgage, and it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. But I think there's a lot of pressure to just do that. And then if you want to do anything other than that, it's like, why? Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to leave that good job you've got to go and start something else? Well, because happiness comes before money.
Yeah, honestly, so it really does. And when we started, we were like, even if we don't even come near to the money that we were on, even if you earn minimum money, but it covered you, but you had the time. Obviously, that's not ideal. You want to grow and you want to be successful, but that's the main thing, was just being in control of time and what you did and like how you spent your days. And if you want to go on holiday, you can go on holiday. you know, and you don't, if you want to have a weekend away or weekend just doing nothing and you don't want to work, like you can do it. Obviously there's times where work completely takes over and you have to give it everything. And we're at that stage now where it's like, we've got to make this work, especially coming out of the year that we've had. I've gone off on a tangent. We were talking about the kiddies, weren't we?
No, but this what it is. It's like that's what you're. I just want to know if, because me personally, I'm always very conscious of what I'm doing in front of the kids, because
Yeah.
you do learn and they're watching without you even realising what they are. You've got an audience constantly. I just think as a mother, as a father, you're constantly performing to audiences that are really, really impressionable. And I try, me personally, I always try to imagine, right, what will this look like to the kids? And that's the question. It's nice to see what an insight is to how other people think of it, because it can be really pressuring, that amount of responsibility on your head, that is what you're doing. You're responsible for them creating into people, like actual people.
It's basically up to you, isn't it? Like, you are moulding that little human being, and it is crazy. We're really strict with his manners and things like that. You know, we say like, if he's got anything, he has to have his manners. He has to be like respectful, but in a way that's just not. It's just built into him, and it's you know, kindness, little things like the cheesy normal stuff. But I think that's what makes, you know, you a good successful person, is having a good morals. And but with like work and things like that, I think it's just being limitless and thinking and just not being boxed off, and you know, just go for it. You literally, it's so cheesy, and we are a bit cheesy, but I think it's nice to be. It's like you do have one shot, don't you?
Well,
I can't believe I'm 30. I'm like, what the hell? How am I 30?
You look damn well for 30, love.
I've got my bun scraped. It's giving me a little facelift.
I really wish I looked like that with my bun scraped.
Oh, get lost! You look gorgeous.
I'm so glad this is audio based, because
gorgeous. But yeah, it's just like, you just got to go for things, and if it doesn't work, and also if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. I've been for jobs and not got them, or been shut down before in meetings in front of people and been like humiliated, and just think, you know what? And one thing I've had to sort of tell myself, if it doesn't, and I'm terrible because I worry about everything, so I'm like not taking my own advice, but if it doesn't matter in 5 months or 5 years, then don't give it 5 minutes. And I'm trying my hardest, which is really hard when your business is all your responsibility and it's only reliant on you, but it is kind of true. You know, if you mess up one thing, does it matter in 5 years?
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, totally, yeah. That is it. I'm like, I don't do that. I sweat all the small stuff. I need to learn to be better at it.
I mean, I've read it and I've listened.
Yeah.
It's a complete other level. New one.
Yeah.
I'm all like, everyone read Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, but I do not practice. Like, I have to genuinely
practice
every day, Carla. Yeah. It's all right. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. And the reason it's a big deal, and the reason you can't shift it off as easy, is because it's so important, and you've put your life and everything you've got into it. So of course it's going to be major if something goes wrong, but hopefully with like time and experience and learning that it's not the end of the world if it doesn't go right the first time. Like, you're just going to grow with it.
Yeah, 100%.
Honestly,
I think
it's been incredible interviewing you, love. I really.
Oh, it's been the best. I feel like I've just waffled.
Oh, I wish COVID wasn't current, because I would be coming to see you.
Yes, well, we need to do that 100%. And this is amazing.
Everyone listening, Charlie is from the famous town of where Drayton Manor is. So,
best thing that ever happened to Tamworth. That's embarrassing.
From Charlie. So, where, you know, if anyone wants to find you or anyone wants to look at what you're doing, where will they find you, love?
So the Makeup House we're based in the Midlands. We've got a new premises which is launching in January, so it's really exciting. So in Tamworth, and we're on Instagram _ the Makeup House, and the Talent House, our recruitment and talent agency, is _ the Talent House on Instagram. But yeah, you can just drop us an email. We've got websites, but yeah, we'd love to have anyone who's wanting to get into beauty, into retail, start fresh, just come and do training with some nice people. Then yeah, get in touch.
And the Prosecco at the end of it.
We have Prosecco and pizza on a Friday, which is a dream.
Oh well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been so lovely, and I love what you're doing.
Smash it, and you're going to have the biggest, fanciest house and cars by the end of it finished. And
I'll still be at my mum's in 10 years.
Right, all right, love. I'll speak to you after. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
You have been listening to the Money Making Mothers podcast with Carla Edwards. If you have enjoyed the show, then leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Make sure to tune in next time, and don't forget, you can have it all.